third phase of AICTE ISTE sponsored induction bar refresher program. So now I am very much glad to introduce the speaker of this today's session, Professor R. Nagaraju sir, who is the Dean CDC, Sri Padmavati Mahila University, and also Professor, Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Sri Padmavati Mahila University. Now I take the privilege of introducing the sir for this session. So Professor Nagaraju sir has obtained BPharm, MPharm, and PharmD from College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Manipal. And sir has started his career as a lecturer at Visvesvaraya Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Bangalore in the year 1986. And sir has joined as professor at Padmavati Mahila Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, Sri Padmavati Mahila Visvesvaraya in the year 2004. And presently is also serving as a professor in the Padmavati Mahila University. Sir has received so many awards and rewards during his tenure. He has received the Best Teacher Award by the Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, that is APTI, in the year 2018. And also, Sir has the recipient of the State Best Teacher Award in the year 2017 by the government of Andhra Pradesh. And also, Sir has received so many prestigious awards like National Best Teacher Award 2017, Best Pharmacist Award in the 2017 by Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Tirupati branch, and now National Level Pharmacist Award in 2017 by Scientific and Innovative Research Award by Seemandhra Drug Dealers Association in by Andhra Pradesh Pharmacy College Management Association, and also is the recipient of Distinguished Alumni Award of Manipal College of Pharmaceutical Sciences in the year 2005. Sir has also received so many grants from the statutory bodies like ISTE, UGC, and AICTE. His sir also organized so many UGC sponsored programs like staff development programs and refresher programs. Sir has guided around 43 students for a post graduation MPharmacy and 10 PhD students. Presently, 8 students are pursuing their PhD program under the SAR guidance. And SAR is also a consultant for various organizations, R&D institutions. And SAR has published more than 73 research papers in reputed national and international journals. And he is also editorial board member for so many journals. And presently, SAR is holding the position of Dean CDC and at Sri Padmavati Mahila University. So thank you, sir. So we are very much privileged to have your presence for this session and delivering a talk on this AICTE IST sponsored refresher program, sir. With this brief introduction, now I hand over the session to Nagaraj, sir, to deliver his talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your introduction. Shall I share the screen now?
Yes, sir. You can share the screen, sir.
Yeah. At the outset, I am thankful to Professor Vidyadhar and his team for inviting me to deliver the lecture, this prestigious FDP program. It will be a little difficult to talk to the teachers, fellow teachers on the subject has been given, but it is really an opportunity to interact the teachers in the young teachers across the country, where the pandemic situation has given us the chance to interact on this platform without having much travel as well as much hardship to coming personally. So when this program was conceived, then I opted for the first slot because I thought I should be giving you a brief introduction about what are the applications and other things, what we are going to listen after in the due course of a program. And this may be as a topic itself, given as the introduction part of it. So some teachers may find it not that very advanced. As I said to you, it is only a refresher for your fundamentals, what is going to. I try to touch upon some of the common terminologies which are commonly used and the objectives. And in a nutshell, what should be the role of pilot plant and the scale-up department. So as Dr. Shashi has rightly mentioned, I'm proud to be associated with the only women's university in the state of Andhra Pradesh. And on this occasion, the pharmacy in this university has completed 25 years of its service. We are running in Silver Jubilee year, and to its recognition, last year we have got a NRF ranking 42 to the Institute of Pharmaceutical Technology, number two in the state of Andhra Pradesh, number one being Andhra University, and number two is Madhu University. A lot of research activities going on here, and as the name itself, all of you might have guessed, this only university for the girls, only a women's university, and where a few old people like me are there still, probably in due course of time. We also may retire, and all women teachers also will be there in this. But however, this university has got a distinction of the only women students, and also unitary university, and a lot of scope for work and interdisciplinary research, and been funded with the various projects in the last few years, especially last 10 years. We have got around 200 to 250 crores of money from various organizations. Because of that, the research is high pace, and we encourage a lot of interdisciplinary research, and we got very advanced instrumentation room, instrumentation facility, where our students will get exposed to use these things. And we have the 9 science departments which are full admission every year. Of course, the pharmacy, needless to say, even though we make 30 seats, also people are ready to join, but we follow the PCA norms. Yes, sir. With this brief introduction about my university and myself, I think I'll move on to the job of the day. And I just focused my talk into the following headings, like a brief introduction on terminologies which are commonly used in the pilot plant department, and its specific objectives and reasons, and with their significance, and what are the various design aspects available in the pilot plant and actual operation, and of course the equipment in the conclusion. The common definitions which include this time and again, you will be listening these words, keywords during the talk of other people also. Then I thought I will define to you these definitions, so that it will be easy for you to correlate these things when you talk advanced talks in the future. The plant means the pilot plant, and the plant means generally a place where the money, material, man, and method, and machine, 5 M's. 5 M's, they are very commonly called as, brought together for the manufacturing of the product. So if you don't have these 5 M's, then the product will not be that's what I always say. Man can be woman also. It's a person. Money, material, man, method, and machine. These are brought together on a logical sequence, and the plant is created. The pilot plant is a little bit different compared to the main plant. The pilot plant, where we have a place to where we are going to convert the lab scale formula which has been developed in the laboratory, which is transformed into a viable product by development of the viable practical procedure for manufacture. The pilot plant is something like in trailer where we do before going for actual production in small quantities, where we are going to have locate all the equipment which are working under the same principles as that of the production unit. So what I mean, the principles is the principle of whatever unit process we are happening in the final manufacturing process. Here also in the pilot plant also, you should have the same equipment in a smaller size of a working on the same principle. It is something in between, like R&D and the production, in between in the pilot plant. There are many products which are highly successful in the lab scale, and we are developmental scale, and they may fail in the production because of the scale up problems. The scale up problems are many, where that need to be addressed for a smooth production of the product which has been invented. That's why many of the products what we try to do in the laboratory, develop in the laboratory, may not see the light of the day because of the scale-up problems. So the scale-up problems are worth considering in converting them into a production scale, and therefore giving the product into a what you call a quality product, and as well as the product which is having the specific meaningful function what is being defined. So therefore, the pilot plant is such an area where the future of the product has been decided here, whether it will go into the production or whether it remain in the books of the thesis books, what is lying in the various universities or the colleges. The scale up is a technique where the art of designing a prototype of the data. So many times the scale up is going to be a difficult task. So if you just look at the scaling up in the domestic fields, probably all our mothers and wives are very good in making the things. Say, for example, a coffee for 4 or 5 people, for 10 people. If we need to make it for 100 and 200 people, probably we will not be knowing it, the technique. So where we may not be having the expertise, we may not be having the vessels, we may not be having the equipment which is required to be used for that purpose. But we have got the art. So the art of designing is there with us. But whereas to blow it up to a manufacturing scale is going to be worked out very, very carefully. And again, if the scale up is not properly done, there is a chances of failure of the product in the final production unit. So therefore, pilot plant and scale up is being discussed together, right? So where we will be able to bring out a viable solution for the problem we are already solved in the laboratory scale. So we have many challenges in making a product viable in the large scale production. And in R&D, we use the small quantities, and we use conventional equipment or sometimes laboratory equipment, and where it is easy for us to control the various process parameters. Whereas when it is trying to be translated into a lab scale to the pilot scale, we require a larger equipment, and we require inside the control of various parameters and process variables in a more appropriate and scientific way. And here the reproducibility is very, very important. The reproducibility of from batch to batch is going to be confirmed with the pilot scale. So once the pilot scale is successfully done, we need to be scaling up to the large scale before going to large scale production. So all these things will not just happen just like that, like a magic, what do you call, mantra dandam antar kada. So you need not, it will not happen like that. It requires a lot of energy, time, and technique, which has to go into various stages before bringing it to the reality in the production. So we have now various tools of pilot scale and scale up techniques. And when you see the program, it has been very carefully designed by the organizers, taking from the basics to that of the advanced parameters which need to be considered. If at all an opportunity given to any one of you young people to work in the pilot department, really it will be a challenging, and it will be very nice to I mean, R&D is little difficult. We don't know. We don't prediction of the results is very, very remote. Whereas in pilot scale is a challenging. Already you have the technology with you, and you need to bring out a workable solution. Usually people working in pilot scale really enjoy their life and say challenges and what they are going to. So of course they have the limitations also. Probably we need to address to that. So when you see what I should say, the terminology wise, what is actually the pilot scale, and what is the meaning of scaling up? So the pilot scale is called as an intermediate batch scale before going to the final manufacturing. It is a representative of a batch which is manufacturing the drug product by a fully representative process, which is actually happening in the what I should say, the manufacturing unit. The scaling up is the next stage, where next to the pilot scale. So in the pilot scale, we do in a small quantities. In scale up, we do in a larger quantities in accordance with the manufacturing what they call the capacity. So it is a process of increasing the batch size or the procedure by applying the same process what you are going to do in a production scale. So these are the two are interlinked. That's why we do call them as a pilot scale and scale up together. And then, first of all, many questions rise in the young minds. Why at all we need to go for the pilot scale? Why don't we directly go from a laboratory to the manufacturing scale? You know very well, the pilot scale is very essential. Intermediate, as I just said before, intermediate scale where we need to see that the product is going to be performing in the same way what is being expected and what is being done. So the pilot scale will save a lot of time and the cost and the money. What is going to be? We cannot just take an experiment on the using a very large quantities and taking the quantities, not only the quantities of the various materials, but also the time of the facilities and industry. All of you know that apart from the material cost, the men cost and also the time of utilization of the facility, all things will have an impact on the economy or the final product cost. So therefore, we, without disturbing the large scale environment, we wanted to do in a small scale and ascertain ourselves that by translating into the large scale, we don't get many problems where you need to solve and wasting of the money. So therefore, we need to be blowing it up to from the bench studies to the a pilot scale, like we can use a product characterization and the purity and etc. All those things. And as all of you know that we are working in the regulatory environment, and we gone are the days where the loan licensing was very easy, and now we need to follow the all the current GMP practices, and we need to stick to the regulations as been which are regulations what is being we are going to manufacture. So with that increasing challenges, compliance with the regulation, as the product moves through testing and evaluation, it is just not just manufactured and given. It has to pass through some tests, what is being as per the regulation, and also thorough evaluation has to happen. So these cannot be done directly from lab scale to production scale. We should have the pilot scale where all these things will be studied there, ascertained, all these things, therefore, before going to the large scale production. And the pilot scale not only helps in doing all this, but also have the increase in knowledge about the any possible problems or say snags or pitfalls while manufacturing the product in the large scale, including the manufacturing, processing, packaging, and storing of the product. I need to brought out an analogy here where the current situation of the COVID vaccine. There are some of the aspects where the COVID vaccine has been, that's why the CDCO has given only for emergency purpose. Usually to know the complete picture, mapping of the whole product requires few more years, maybe 5 to 8 years we require, because there is no data of the COVID for the various effect of the age group or comorbid conditions and pregnancy and so many other things which are the time was not there to study. So where similarly the product has been given in emergency, it has been done and supposed to be safe for majority of the people. It is given. A lot of work is now going on. There is a situation exactly 1 year back where under the lockdown in the same time, March 22nd or so, and we are also now second wave has come after the after 1 year. So, but compared to last year, this year the medical professionals and the government are a little confident. Now they know what is to be done. They know primarily what is to be taken care and how the hospitalization can be reduced. So all these things they are understood by this harsh of 1 year. Similarly, the pilot scale is one platform where the increasing knowledge about any possible problems which are going to erupt during the large scale production, and if any manufacturing difficulties are there, and again any packing problems are there, all those things will be understood very well in the pilot scale. That's why pilot scale is very essential step before going for the large scale production. And this pilot scale ultimately, finally, facilitates the transfer of the product from the laboratory into the production. So this is very important, and over the years of time, for last 33 years, I have spent in the teaching profession, in the research. After coming to the university in 2004, the research component of my personal thing has been drastically increased, and we have gone beyond the what I should say the what I as per the targets has been given to us by the university. So and many of us in academic research is totally different in the research in the what is being done in the industry, where some of the things here we have the freedom to do whatever we want to do, and there is no economical constraints are not there. And I am not hesitant to say whatever products, whatever research we have done, probably not even 1 to 5% can be go into the production. But of course, it may take few more years. People should continue in the same area and bring out modalities by which the fundamental things what has been established in the universities and the colleges need to be taken to the further at a different level, and therefore they can someday enter into the what do you call market. So likewise, few years back when I was a student, the liposomal research was very much drastic, and many universities used to do that. And now it took almost 1 or 2 decades to bring the product into the market, and we have seen that few of them are also in Indian market and around. I am sorry, I have some particular information I don't have in this presentation. Probably, if time is there at the end, I can share that information about the liposomes. So what I mean to say here is the research in the academic institution will not go a waste, and it take a longer way. Will give the what I should say the advancements in the research in future what the people are going to. Whereas the product development here the laboratory concern what is being done successful need to be entered into the production only through pilot scale and not in the other ways. So after that, we should scaling up. Why it is going to be very important. The scaling up is an important step which is necessary to determine the effect of scale on the product quality. What is the meaning of scale here? From a smaller quantities to the larger quantities. When you are converting the product from you are converting a laboratory way, you are taking few milligrams and doing it. In the pilot scale, you are taking few grams and doing it. And the scale up process manufacturing in cages. So what is the effect of the various variables, the procedural steps on the scaling up when you do the scaling up? So that particular thing has to be well defined. The effect of scale up is very essential to determine the product quality. Whether converting uh, from a milligram to the gram to the kg scale, whether or this is affecting the product quality that need to be defined. Yes. So because of these processes are many processes are scale dependent, and sometimes when the products which are passing the what I should say in the lower scale, the test for quality and all may fail in case of larger production scales. So it may fail the quality assurance test sometimes. So those points need to be identified here, and suitable measures has to be taken. Therefore, a perfect product in the laboratory should be designed for a laboratory, and the pilot plant should be able to come out with a well-defined process, and therefore we will be able to get a product of quality which is going to be very good in case of scaling up. So a well-defined process, a perfect product, the laboratory, the pilot scale, but sometimes may fail in the quality assurance test because of the processes are scale dependent. Whatever processes are there, when you do in the larger scale, probably we may not be able to get the same quality. So hence the scale up is highly essential to determine the effect of the this particular converting into a from a laboratory product into a large scale. Though what is going to be the effect on the product quality? That's why we need to have a scale up. So the pilot plant has been established with a specific objectives in their forefront. And the main objectives include of this pilot plant is to produce physically and chemically a stable therapeutic dosage forms. So that is primarily a very important thing. And then a review of the processing equipment required in the production unit. So what you require, what type of granulator is required, what type of mixer is required, what type of machines or unit process is required, what type of dryers are required. So all those things are going to be established in the pilot scale, and those things need to be uh, put in the what you call manufacturing scale at the largest things. And pilot scale department, pilot plant department develops the guidelines for production of the product and also the process controls. So how much should be used? What should be the quantity? What should be the process has to happen? What should be the how? What is the first step? What is the second step? How? What is the temperature? What is going to be the method of addition of the ingredient? What is going to the mixing time? And all those manufacturing details I need not explain to the gathering like this here. So all of you can assimilate the understanding of what is the process and production means. So without spending much time on that, it is a very important department where the guidelines for those things are being developed, and the guidelines for evaluation and validation. So the previously evaluation would have been enough. Now the validation is also very, very important. So we need to validate each and every step and bring out the validation procedures, and that need to be emphasized while doing in the large scale production. And this pilot plant department will also, apart from these functions, what is being mentioned here, identify the critical features of the process. So what is going to be the critical features of the process? A process which step is critical, which reflect on the quality of the product which is going to come. Out of 10 production steps, maybe one or two are very crucial. If those two crucial things have been having a good control, probably we may get the good product. So finally, to provide the master manufacturing formula, it is like a formula for going for a bigger production. Those things has to be given. Where the master manufacturing formula, the VA, those people who have worked in the industry or got industrial exposure will know. In the production department, nothing will be there. They just give a quantities of A, B, C, what how much to be taken, and the steps how much to be taken, at what time should be added, and what time it should be run. How much only those steps will be there, and there will be no reasons. If any problem is there, they refer back to pilot scale. What is going to happen? So how you are going to get all this master formula? By a hard work and time spent in the pilot plant, this master formula has been developed, manufacturing formula. This formula, before going for the final commercial formulation, they will check it and see all the variables has been set or not. Then only it will be left to go for the commercial. And why do you require building up of a good pilot plant? Pilot plant is something like the heart of the any production manufacturing. It is like in a movie making. Nowadays, you know very well, all very young people are coming both in national level and regional level. Very young guys, so less than 30, 35. So in our days, the directors are 50 plus. Now the young people are there with a lot of talents available, and so how the directors are there behind any making of a movie and other teamwork. Similarly, the pilot plant is successful a plant behind the successful product which is going to be coming out of the market. So this is very important. So to evaluate on process of large change in the scale of operation. So if you know that, wanted to know this, what is going to be the changes happening and how that has to be controlled, you require a pilot plant. And you also has to find and examine all byproducts and waste. So it is very, very important to go for the waste management, and a lot of restrictions on the waste management and the how we are going to handle. So we have a public awareness, and you have seen various incidents in your Vizag, what happened as the polymer industry and other problems are there. So therefore, a thorough understanding is required before the products, byproducts, and the waste management, how it is going to be. That insight will be given. That particular ideas or that particular suggestions or that particular information is being developed in a pilot plant. And we produce a trial batches, a lot of quantities of the material where the trial batches will be run here in pilot plant, and the material consumed in the pilot plant is far less than that of the material used in the large scale production. So therefore, we need to do everything on the small scale on the pilot plant with the equipment used with the same working in the same principle as that of the manufacturing unit, and but the quantity is going to be less. So therefore, we also see the guidelines of clinical studies and analytical development, process development, and stability testing. All those things will be developed in this particular the department, and we require therefore the building of a pilot plant is very crucial for any organization, especially working out to bring a product which in the large scale. So this is significance why the pilot plant has been given so much of importance in product development, because of the formula what has been developed for manufacturing has been developed in the pilot scale, and a very microscopic evaluation or examination of this formula has been done in the pilot scale and pilot plant and the pilot plant before scaling up. And we also see the range of review of range of relevant processing equipment, what required to be used in the manufacturing, and the production rate adjustment, what I should say, advisors will be developed here only. And what is going to be the idea of what is going to be the space required, physical space required, and which will be given by the pilot plant department only. How much is required, how many square feet is required, what is going, which area require how much, all those things will be the responsibility of the pilot plant department, where it will suggest before establishing the manufacturing area. Nowadays, we have various contract or research organizations, advisors, and consultants are available. Probably the people who are doing the manufacturing will take up tie up from them, and they will have an entry with their understanding till a commercial successful batch is produced. So all those things are in way in making this a what I say, the event of production large scale is going to be successful. And this juncture, I also wanted to appreciate all the pharmacists in the COVID situation who are community pharmacists, pharmacists working in hospital. More importantly, our pharmacy colleagues working in the industry. So where even the lockdown period or the in corona period, they work and they seen that the country, even another our prime minister has proudly say that uh, we have no shortage of essential medicines. Even I found that in my personal thing also, we never had any shortage of life-saving medicines, and these medicines are not sold at a higher price. So these are going to be very significant achievement from the pharma profession, and also our beloved President of Pharmacy Council of India has also mentioned, Professor Suresh, many a time, many of the seminars and the meetings appreciated about the teaching faculty's contribution. It's worth to know that all of us, including me, have very actively involved in teaching, and probably the students are not there in front of us, but they are remotely situated, and I know it is very difficult keeping them together. And also, many colleges, including CHIPS College, have organized the programs like this, where the teachers are also got engaged, and also the speakers from the abroad to suit their timings. There are some programs were late in the evenings and early in the mornings, and I have seen a good amount of the teachers, young teachers, and also old teachers like me have attended few of the programs, which is of a great help. So therefore, the technology innovation has made us, as I said in the beginning, to rope up in this type of work. Otherwise, not possible for some of the very important uh, people who are in the industry, and as well as the people who are working actually in the pilot plant to rope in. And CHIPS College is successful in bringing the experts in this field, and therefore probably sharing the views from directly from them will be a long way to go. Probably if I would not have got this assignment back in the university, I would have sat these 5 days and listening to all the people who are there in the industry. But unfortunately, I don't have an option, and I need to go ahead with the regular work where I cannot take leave and sit in front of the computer and whatsoever it is going to be. But otherwise, I love to. I also requested the authorities uh, in the beginning itself. They are recording all the talks, so probably a recording of that. Maybe sometimes I will listen to it. So therefore, I request all of you explore this opportunity, develop the contacts with the people who are there around you, and see that how they are going to help in bringing your career to move. I would like to bring 1 or 2 points here where the people we met industry people on the IPCs and like this and all, resource persons and all, they helped us a lot in placing our students in their university, in their things, and also helping us in giving the materials and also the drugs and also opportunities for our students to go. So I am direct beneficiary of such help from the industry people and also the colleges around where they are ready, more than ready to help. So build your network in such a way that your pharmacy network in such a way that they will help you in moving ahead, and also you should help the people who seek the help from you to make them to go to the next level, right? So coming to this is a compilation of all things what we have spoken. Quickly, I'll go through this. The objectives of the thing scaling up. So is very important. The scaling up is going to be the formulation related. So you need to see the identification and control of critical components and other variables. This already we have discussed. Equipment related. So your identification and control of critical parameters and operating ranges. So this is about the scaling up, how you are going to scale up the thing from laboratory to the either production scale or the pilot scale. And production and process related evaluation, validation and finalization of the controls, and the product related development and validation of reprocessing procedures and the documentation. So every time for last few years, now the documentation has become very crucial point of our life. Documentation of records and reports according to CGMP. So here documentation, if I'm not going out of the context, the documentation is very important nowadays, not only in the professional life, and also the personal life. In the COVID situation, we have to make available our rewards, where our investments are there, where our liabilities are there, what is the password of your email account, what is the password of ATM pin, what is going to be the other important things where our dependents should know. Because of the COVID situation, we don't know what is going to happen, and if any adverse things happen, the whole financial as well as the other things of the family will be turned around. So probably you should, apart from one, like maybe for time me, I should also share things at least one of the family members. Probably for my age, my wife is the best person to know all those things. And where is your passbook located? Where your apartment documents are located? Where your uh, in which who is how much money you are owed to anyone, any banks, what is to be EMIs to be paid, and all the what you call sensitive data need to be shared with another person in the family, and we need to develop. I have one document been developed by the one of the some group of auditors. Probably if anybody is interested, you can give me a mail to my personal email ID. I will share that. So that particular thing, even where is your passport lies also is carefully done. So this is the requirement of the day because of the uncertain situations around. So not only in the personal life, the documentation is going to be very crucial now in professional life also. And all of you are from most of the colleges, now you know you have ISO certification, you have NAC, you have NRF, and everybody asks the documents, everybody asks the proofs. If I say I have given the lecture in chips, people will ask the proof. Where is the proof? So I should get a letter from these people, invitation from these people, put it in my profile. So, and if something you are doing activities in the college or the academic activities or the other activities, we should have a proof. Those people who are undergone the NIRF and ISO will know very well what is the importance of documentation. Similarly, in the industry, and if some people are there in industry, they will tell me better than me what type of records and reports has to be documented according to the CGMP. There are they may ask sometimes even the HPLC chromatograms also to ascertain the assay part of it. So even such much deep what I should say documentation is going to be required. So it is going to be very, very important in doing all this. So coming to the points which are related to the examination of the yeah formula. What is going to be what formula we need to examine? What characteristic features you need to examine? First is the formula you need to examine its ability to withstand. I am starting from my left hand side, right? Ability to withstand the back scale. This was we are discussing a lot all this time. How this formula, if at all it is translated into the larger scale, how it is going to withstand, whether the process parameters are going to be affected or not, whether the quality of the product is going to be affected or not. That is very important. Next, what is going to be the effect of the process modification? If we slightly do the process modification, what is the outcome of the product quality that need to be? And again, the formula should be examined for its compatibility of its compatibility with wide variety of equipment which is used in the formulation, and that need to be evaluated, that need to be known. Then we should also see that the availability of the raw materials and there are the specifications. We are going to use the materials which are available and don't depend on the materials which is available from China. Right? So for example. So now the focus is now avoid the dependability in such a way that go for more local than more international. So that's what one of the important things you need to know. And sorry, I am some problem. Yeah. Next is what is going to be the physical space required? Whether the formula what has been ambitiously developed is going to match with the physical space what is there and how much is going to be required. And what is going to be the more important, the market requirement. So if the market requirement is something and your formula gives something, it is going to be very, very difficult. And finally, not only in India, everywhere, the cost factor is very, very important. But the cost factor is more important in India because of the population is what is being considered here. Majority of them don't cover on the medical insurance and also don't have the ability to buy the product in the market at a full price. So therefore, you need to develop the formula in such a way that to address all these problems, what you are going to look into. Similar way, the scale up, again, to say maybe a small repetition, should the scale up should adequately monitor the process, whatever process you are going to, and it should provide the assurance that the process is under control. So when you convert a product from a laboratory scale to the larger scale, maybe a pilot scale or the manufacturing scale, the process should assure that various parameters are going to be under control and the quality of the product is not at stake. So that is the major objective of the scale up techniques. And we cannot just scale up compromising on any outcomes of the product. The product produced should maintain a specified attributes which is originally intended. So whatever originally you want to look into the product, the scale up should not change. The scale up process should not change the qualities of the product and it should reflect the qualities unchanged within the limits of variation, and therefore then only your pilot plant and scale up is successful. Coming to a few points in the designing of the pilot plant, basically, pilot plant design is being focused on these areas and where the formulation and process development and clinical supply and manufacture, technology evaluation, scale up and transfer. So The attributes required in the product should address the following: should be current GMP compliance. It should be having a flexible and highly trained staff. That's what here people, friends from the industry and the HRs from the industry, mainly they tell about the staff, what is going to be the how many days, how many months, or how many years they are going to stick to the job. So this is a minimum 3 years they're asking, because of once they are trained and they need to, if they leave, then again they big problem. So a highly trained staff are required here, and they are also should be also flexible, should be able to go into different fit into different areas. And we require a sophisticated equipment to support multiple dosage form development. So it is very important, and the cost of the production is going to be, we cannot just have only one particular setup to manufacture only one product. So we should have a setup, a multi-dosage form development setup we need to evolve. Therefore, units can be used for multiple purposes. So the equipment at multiple scales based on similarity of operating principles to use this production. I'm sorry for the little break here. So the equipment at multiple scales based on the similarity of operating principles to those in production. So that is very important. So here we need to have equipment which can be used at different scales, maybe intermediate size and full scale equipment and so on. And we need to, some equipment need to be used in different places, can be portable, need not be fixed into one particular area where we need to think about this particular adjustment also. And we also should have a multi-purpose rooms, and all these things are required to reduce the cost of the production, where we are not supposed to an entirely devoted plant. If at all you have that much particular what I should say facility usage and output, then you can go for a devoted plant. Otherwise you should have a multiple doses form development. And we also should restrict the access to various people, regulated and regulated personal flow and material flow. So the pilot plant operation is going to be very, very important, where what are various operational aspects. Validation, training, engineering support, maintenance and calibration, material control, inventory and orders labeling, process manufacturing, and finally the quality control and quality assurance. So what are the important aspects in the validation part? So in the validation part, the important thing is the what is going to be the design specifications and what is going to be the installation qualifications. You need to develop all these things, and what is going to be the operational qualifications, and what is need to be the performance qualifications and compliance aspects of it. So it is going to be, I am not going to talk individually about this, as most of it is a repetition for the group like you. Probably this is not required. So these guidelines and these things need to be developed, and that is a responsibility of this particular division. And let us see what is going to be the training is going to be required. So the training is going to be, sorry, focused of the staff, the training whom, the training of the staff is required. So usually the training is required in compliance with the GMP, and what is going to be the GMP aspect of it, and how we need to go with that GMP. The staff has to be trained, and the safety and environmental responsibilities. The staff has to be given training in this, compliance with SOPs, and technical skills and knowledge. So this training process is going to be a continuous process, and especially for the newcomers as well as the people who are already there. Like how all teachers are going for faculty development program. Similarly, the people elsewhere in the industry will undergo this particular training in various aspects to apprise them about the seriousness of the product, what is going to be coming out of that. And coming to the engineering support. So engineering support is very important. And to remember uh, when the students, when I was a student in BPharm student in 1980, we used to have three engineering subjects, and which has been taught by engineering college staff only. We used to go to engineering college and get those things. So where the pharmaceutical engineering 1 and 2, and to give an insight and also drawing, this purpose of making that is going to be to give something, some knowledge about this particular engineering part of it, where we will be able to communicate the engineers in such a way that what exactly we want in the production facility. So what is going to be the design of the facility you require, and what is going to be the construction facility you want it according to the guidelines, what should be the coordination you have to offer and scheduling of the work, and how the facility need to be validated. So these are the things where you are going to put forward your ideas and your requirement, and where the engineers are going to work out to bring out the answers for you. And then coming to the maintenance and calibration, where to ensure the data integrity and equipment reliability. So the data integrity is very, very important in industry, where they have a lot of protected data, and you're not supposed to leak out the data to anyone. Only you have to give to people who are concerned with. And we also should develop the how reliable the equipment is, and how what should be the calibration cycles we need to see, and how it is going to be assessed. So to meet the, of course, the maintenance and calibration is going to be focused to meet the current GMP practices, or GMP norms. So therefore, these are all the important steps on this particular category, where we need to bring out that particular environment in the thing. Then coming to the computerized system. Now computer is like the ghost to all of us, and wherever you go, I follow. Likewise, nowadays we have been involved in using the computer for various routine activities also. Forget about the specialized activities. So now we are dependent so much on the technology. We are dependent so much on the systems, where our systems are going to help us to make our lives very, very easy. All of you know very well that, say, take an example of railway booking. There are the days where in Tirupati I used to stand in a long queue, or send my attendant to get a ticket to come to maybe go to Vizag or Hyderabad or whatsoever it is. So over a period of time, it is very easy now. I can book it through my mobile, the tickets wherever you want to go. Only the problem was the thing in the what I should say, trade. Nowadays, forget about the air tickets. We used to have in Tirupati maybe 1 or 2 agents where they used to act very smart to get the air tickets. So now we have various apps you can do. So what I mean to say is these inventions and technologies in this area has made our social life very easier, and very what I should is not only easier, and we can plan, and everything can be done at a very faster life. So similarly, there are a lot of integrity of the computerization in various functions in the industry, where we can very well see the effect of this computerization. Computerization can have a better material control, and we can have which material is going out of stock, or what material is required, what is the forecast of buying. It even give the prompt then when should buy, like how you will get a message from whatsoever your monthly, what I should say, your phone bill is due, your what do you call, electricity bill is due, some pop-ups is coming. No, likewise we can design for a better material control, and where the person's will be alert itself. Likewise, so much of advances in the material management has been done using the computerization, and more effectively the inventory management. So shifting from a manual to computerized, we have people have seen a lot of accuracy in the inventory management, and have saved a lot of money going for what I should say, wasting of the money. And also we can use this in case of orders and FIFO, first in, first out, all those things can be done. And then labeling aspects of it can be also done. So there is a limitless applications of the computers. That depends on where we are going to do. Right. Coming to the process and manufacturing activities. So the process and manufacturing activities and the formulation and process development studies is going to be very important. Clinical supply and manufacture, technology evaluation, scale up and transfer. And then coming to the very important aspect of it, quality assurance. The quality assurance is going to be order of the day. Whatever you do, that should be a quality product. Auditing of the pilot plant, auditing of the approval of the component suppliers, reviewing approval and maintaining the batch records for clinical supplies, sampling and release of the raw materials and components required for clinical supplies, release of clinical supplies, maintaining SOPs in various maintaining a distributing facility and operating procedures, and review and approval of validation on engineering aspects, which are going to be very much important work of quality assurance one. And of course, the quality control, release and testing of the finished products, physical and chemical and microbiological testing, which includes the finished products and finished clinical products. So C is missing here. Testing and validation of revalidation programs, quality control in process testing during development and scale up technology and transfer of activities. So the requirements, I just try to put up very bullet points here. I may not discuss a lot on this. Yeah, personal requirements, equipment requirements, space requirements, process evaluation, preparation and master manufacturing procedures, GMP considerations. So we need to address to all these requirements in the pilot scale and scale up thing, and develop a blueprint for various activities required here and to start the activities, right? Then coming to personal requirements, where we are very much important as a teachers here, we try to inculcate these qualities. We expect these qualities. The students has to acquire this. The best theoretical knowledge of pharmaceutics is very important. I will take out the pharmaceutics here. Pharmaceutical science I put because when I talk about the pharmaceutics, it may be a bias. The person required to have a overall knowledge of the pharmaceutical sciences. This is very important. Ability to communicate. The communication skills are going to be very, very important. And where the students has to be trained. Having a knowledge is one side, and having a knowledge, and if you're not able to tell the knowledge, whatever you have, you are going to be waste. And knowledge of electronics and computers, you should have very much good knowledge, and you should be able to operate the computers and able to operate various softwares and able to operate various statistical packages very quickly. People has to do it. Then only they will be successful to come to be eligible for working in this. And engineering capabilities and practical experience in pharmaceutical industry. So people say when the given opportunity only they will get experience. But if they have already some 1 or 2 years experience in industry, if they go to pilot scale, they will be more successful. So as a teacher, we need to communicate to the students. These are all the expectations from the industry. Not only studying the PCA syllabus of what is being given in 4 years or plus 2 years and giving out, regurgitating the examination and getting a gold medal is not a need of the day. You require these things apart from your theoretical knowledge. And apart from that, these are the things, skills has to be developed. Otherwise, they will, just by seeing a gold medal from any university, people will not give the job in case you don't have these characteristic features. So I hope this slide number 30 is very important, and I request all of all the teaching fraternity to communicate. We are also communicating this to all the students, but you see that emphasize on this, and every day in a class, apart from learning the theory and whatsoever it is, ask them to focus on this, what they have learned today, and how that can be made into a practice, how it is going to be done. So that's going to be very, very important. Coming to the equipment requirements, and without wasting much time spending on that, I just read out what is there in the slide. Equipment selected based on the processing of the characteristic of the project. Most should be most economical and simplest way and efficient, and the size should be relevant to production sized batches and easy of cleaning. Space requirements. The space requirements goes like this. You should include the administration and information processing, physical testing area, standard pilot plant equipment floor space, storage area, and separate area for API and excipients or further segregated area, in-process materials and its controls and so on. So we need to have all those things and to include the designing of this pilot scale. And process validation, process parameters should be evaluated and optimized. Say, for example, in case of mixing, you try to see that the order of addition, what is the mixing speed, what is the mixing time, and what is the rate of addition. So likewise, each and every parameter, process parameter need to be identified in the manufacturing of the product, and we clearly define what are the parameters need to be optimized. So master manufacturing procedure is one, which is the final sheet where we are going to be ready with all our effort. It is like our mascot. So chemical weight sheet where identify chemicals and its quantity, the order of using, and the sampling directions, process specifications, and it should be understandable language. Many a time, people working in this area try to tell them in a local language and develop in that. Many industries are doing it. And what should be the in-process and finished product specifications, and of course, when the documentation and how the documentation has to be done. And GMP considerations, process validation, regular process review and revalidation. As this GMP consideration is going to be concerned, we are giving the training part of the persons. What is the importance, significance of GMP, and how this is going to be reflected in the quality of the product, and how the product has to be marketed with, based on this. So these need to be inculcated into the staff. Then only they will try to stick into the considerations. And regular process review and revalidation, and relevant written SOPs and equipment qualification, and regularly scheduled preventive maintenance. This is very, very important. People should not wait for the particular equipment to shut down because of the maintenance. So you should go for a preventive. It's called a servicing. You need to know when the particular product has to preventive maintenance has to be given before becoming urgent, where during the shifts and during this time that the machine or the equipment has to be serviced. So should actually validate each and every time the cleaning procedures, whether they're working out or not, and bring out alternative if it is required. And orderly arrangement of equipment so as to ease the material flow and prevent cross contamination. You need to arrange the equipment as per the material flow. Like what should be, mixer should be first, granulator should be next, and all that. Whatever the sequence of production you are going to do, the equipment has to be arranged in such a way that there will be no confusion that material go in form of a sequence on one particular line. Therefore, cross contamination is prevented. And a well-defined technology transfer system, whatever the technology TTS is there now, this is very important. And in the laboratory scale, to the pilot scale and manufacturing scale, the TTS should be a proper one, very defined. And again, the success of all these things is going to be dependent on the competent and technically qualified persons. And not only that, adequate provision for training of the personnel has to be done. Then only the success is going to be there. Then coming to the last but one slide and a conclusion, I just put it in a nutshell. A thorough understanding of the integration of the scale factors, facility design, equipment design, and process performance is necessary for scale up and process transfer. I put it in two sentences, the significance of pilot plant and scale. Before coming to the thank you slide, I have a couple of slides to emphasize to you what is going to be the need of the day, what is the world needs, the quality. The quality is very, very important rather than the quantity. People say the quantity in the longer run leads the quality. But to get the quality product, definitely you require the particular incubation time. Yeah, so you require a baby, a human baby, it requires 9 months time. You cannot get it in 6 months or 3 months or 4 months. So the time period is important, and also nowadays the quality is has to be focused in such a way that, and the young minds should be oriented in terms of the quality whatsoever they do, quality of the work, quality of their behavior, quality of the profession. All those things are going to be very well. Only the quality will be appreciated throughout the world. Next is one or two slides. Just find out what you find from these pictures. How many pictures you find in this? Anyone, organizers can unmute the people who are ready to answer.
Or you can post in the chat box. They can also post in the chat box, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sir,
Yeah, that's also okay. No issue.
5, sir.
5. Can you name those things? No, 5.
Yes, 2 older person, 2 younger person, and
Old
one
woman and
lady.
man. Okay.
Yes.
The year. Okay.
Yes.
Correct. Then.
Uh, 2 older,
Yeah. On three
two,
person. Then
2 younger
two
people.
younger.
2 young people, one man and a woman, one person with the guitar,
Yes,
another
sir.
lady. Yeah, correct.
Yes, sir.
So, what is the purpose of keeping this slide is your
Yes.
observation is very important. Sometimes, many a times, your visual perceptions, visual, I don't know how many will follow. చూసిందంతా నిజం కాదు. Whatsoever you see in the human eye sometimes may not be true. So you need to authenticate that. Just don't just go by one look. Okay, the observation is very, very important. A key observation is very, very important. You just see at a glance, if you look at your 2 older man, woman and man, isn't it? So any point of the thing, you should look it clearly and don't take any decisions quickly and drastically and before coming to a conclusion. So my next question is, how many of you see baby in this? I'm telling the answer. Can you see baby in this picture? You can put in the chat box also. How many of you can see out of 33? So leave out 3 or 4. There is a baby in this picture. Can you see the baby? A baby lying down in the cradle like.
Yes, sir. One baby.
Somebody has told the answer.
Sir, one baby.
One baby is there. Where it
Yes.
is there? Where it is there?
Uh, the feeds are at the feeds are with the trunk of the tree.
Yeah. The purpose of putting this slide is again the observation and perseverance. So you need to be clean observer. You need to be very minute observer and advise our students. Not only we need to, nowadays we see, the students or the youngsters will have the headphone on and just walk on the footpath and the roads or in the campus where they don't hear the sounds and they don't hear what is happening on the around, and what's happening around, what is there, enjoy the nature. That is very important. And many a times when I drive in my campus, any students driving that, I'll stop my car and shout at them, what this you are doing? Can't you just go looking into the thing like that? And I see so many people on the road where they just go like that, they cross the road like that. So the observance and the perseverance is very important, not only in our level but also more importantly in the students level. The environment, they need to assess and see how it is going to be. The keen observation of many people around you will teach us a lot, and keen observation of your teacher, keen observation of your friend, keen observation of your parents. Many of the things we inherit from the parents because we try to emulate the same action as a parent when you are young, and that will be there in our mind. And when you come out of the parent clutches, probably you need to take the cue from the environment and come out a best mold out of it. What is you are going to come out of the country into the society, right? These are all your references. what I have done. A big thank you to all of you and those who are interacted. Probably I big thanks, and I big thanks to Professor Vidyadhar and his team, especially Dr. Shashi, coordinating with me from the day one. And this is a successful completion of the third cycle. And
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
yeah, and AICTE is kind enough to encourage this type of programs, and especially during the pandemic time. And I hope all the teachers, all the fellow teachers enjoyed this presentation, even though it is little basic. Probably it will go a long way to understand that advanced topics what is being scheduled to you. Thank you very much. If any questions are there, I am. If time is there, if panelists, I mean, if administrators are permitting, then probably I can take up.
Or else we will share your mail ID, sir, to the participants.
Yeah.
So if any queries or if they want to interact with you, definitely we will
Yes.
share the thing details, sir, and they will
Yes,
interact
yes.
with you, sir.
Okay.
A few of
Okay.
them are, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So on behalf of AICTE, ISTE, and also from the management and from the principal of Chebro Hanuma Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, so we are very much thankful to Professor Nagaraju, sir, for his valuable session, and not only the technical session, but also his suggestions and guiding all the faculty. Definitely, sir, definitely all the suggestions are very helpful to the faculty, sir, in their teaching life. We will definitely follow, and we will try to implement all your suggestions, sir. So with this session, so I thankful Professor Nagaraju, sir, and also we will meet in the third session, that is at 3 o'clock. So if any participants, we will share the details of Nagaraju, sir. You can also interact from through the mail, and you can also post your queries also in the mail. So thank you all. Thank you all for being with us, and we will meet again at once again at 3 o'clock. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.